Hello my friends, welcome back to Milk and Cookies Total War. I am Pride, and today one of the greatest rivalries in the history of Warhammer Fantasy Battle is renewed. King Belegar Ironhammer, the true king of the Eight Peaks, versus Skarsnik, warlord of the Eight Peaks. So these guys hate each other. Greenskins versus Dwarfs, classic Warhammer matchup, should be a good time. So the Dwarfs are one of the biggest beneficiaries of the patch that came with Mortal Empires. They have received some significant buffs across the board, maybe more so than any other one faction in the game, and I've had some serious success with the Dwarfs since Mortal Empires went live about 4 or 5 days ago. So Belegar Ironhammer himself has received some buffs. He has higher melee defense. His Oath Stone and Revenge Incarnate have received some pretty big changes. His weapon strength has gotten better, and there were some big changes there. But let's talk about the Hammerers for a second, which are going to be a staple unit that I feel like you're going to see a lot with the Dwarfs in general. They have higher weapon strength, higher melee defense, they have higher armor now, and they just shred through armor like a hot knife through butter. So they're a fantastic elite infantry unit, and they only cost 1100 gold. They even got a price decrease after all those buffs. So pretty powerful unit. You're going to see the Hammerers a lot in multiplayer, I think. Slayers received a significant price decrease from 1000 gold to 900, which doesn't necessarily sound like a huge deal, but when you're talking about having 3 or 4 staple units across the entire Dawi line, receiving those 100 gold price decreases, that can add up. That can allow you to bring 1 or 2 extra units that you wouldn't normally be able to field, and that can be the difference between winning and losing a game. So it definitely does add up here. That price decrease for the Slayers is very nice. Organ guns have longer range now, and they also fix some of the projectile interactions. So this thing can now fire quicker after turning, which it had some previous trouble with. It would kind of reorient its direction, and then it would just take a long time for it to start firing again. And it now reloads quicker, it seems like, and gets a lot more shots off, and deals a lot more damage in general because of those changes. So those are some very nice changes. The organ gun is a very nice selection. Trollhammer torpedoes have kind of gotten ninja buffed in the patch, right? The only thing that the patch notes said was that they had more entities in the unit now, but what that means is, with the same weapon damage, they're doing a lot more damage. And I don't know if that's the only change that happened to them. They might have gotten some more ninja buffs in the patch, but Trollhammer torpedoes are a fantastic unit for the Dawi. They can kill single entities incredibly quickly and deal with cav very nicely as well. So you combo this with a Tormentor sword with a Dwarf Thane or something, freeze them in place, and just shred them apart with that anti-large. Dragonback Slayers, I believe, also got a price decrease just like Slayers did, and they have that slowing aura when they touch anything in melee. They'll get slowed down quite significantly. They have charge defense against large, so they're a very nice unit that you'll see a lot with the Dwarfs. And yeah, we have Althar's Rangers right here, the Rangers with great weapons that can marked by Althar and then really dramatically reduce their ability to take missile fire and just shred cav or single entity monsters like an Arachnarok Spider. So they're very good. And then we have the Grumbling Guard, of course, with that aura that improves melee or stamina in general. I have another unit of Rangers with great weapons and some Miners with blasting charges up front, which should help a lot versus the Goblin line, if that's indeed what we deal with, but it might be Orc Boys or Orc Big Guns. But it is Skarsnik, the Warlord of 8 Peaks, so you would expect to see a Goblin line. So, right here, we've got Skarsnik, and he's got some tricks up his sleeve that are new in Mortal Empires. One of the biggest ones is Tricksy Traps, which allows him and any unit that's inside the AoE of this spell, or ability rather, to stalk, and they cannot be spotted until they're about 15 feet in front of your line, which is a really big deal, and you can do some really goofy, really fun stuff with this. So, for instance, you could put an Arachnarok Spider or a Giant on a flat map like MP Crossroads like we're on right now, inside the AoE of the spell, and they'll become completely invisible until they're right in front of the enemy line. So that could be a great way to mitigate fire, like cannon fire or something, on your monsters as you move into melee. You can hide cav in there. You can hide pretty much anything you want inside the AoE of this ability, and that allows them to get much closer to the line without taking a lot of fire and mitigate some of that damage. So that's a very powerful ability if used appropriately, and it's basically really fun too, which is awesome because I love seeing those kind of abilities get added to the game. Squig Herd, of course, amazing versus Dwarfs, bonus versus infantry and armor piercing, pretty big deal, so they'll be able to charge in from behind and work in tandem with some of the sneaky stabbers on the front line. And Durkat Squigs do poison melee attacks. They also have that AP and bonus versus infantry, so again, fantastic choice versus the Dwarfs. Moon Howlers cause fear, so not typical of your normal Goblin Wolf Riders. But again, a very fast mover. They'll be able to skirt around the edge of the battlefield get in behind and maybe shut down those rangers with great weapons or some of those other units. Now in the front line, of course, because we do have a Skarsnik build here, what would make sense, what would make more sense than a bunch of nasty skulkers? This time, a bunch of them have silver chevrons to increase their leadership and dramatically increase their melee defense as well. So one of the changes that came in Mortal Empires was each point into a chevron gives you, I believe, 2 melee defense, typically speaking, which is very cost effective and will make very cheap units like this one even more cost effective than they would normally be. And of course with their AP, nasty skulkers can be very good against the dwarfs. They do have low leadership, but in tandem with the squig herd, they can be pretty nasty. Now of course we also have some Rusty heirs with that armor sundering and poison melee attacks. Be very good. And the warlord's voice as well, unbreakable and armor piercing. So Hammer of Gork will give some of that AP from range and actually force me to move up in another Goblin Rock Clobber. And out here we have the Mogrub's Manji Marauders with their AP missile damage. So a lot of AP on the Goblin line here, and we are all set to see a very interesting rivalry between King Belegar Ironhammer and Warlord of Eight Peaks Skarsnik, the Night Goblin Warboss, go at it. So let's first play and get into the battlefield. So organ guns will begin opening up fire and start shredding some of these guys. And look at that. First volley instantly took them down about a fifth of their HP. And the Manji Marauders will quickly start skirting around the flanks of the battlefield and try to mitigate some of that fire. So the good thing about these guys is they've got 92 speed. So they should be able to kind of force my organ gun to continuously reposition and not really be able to fire as much as we would like to. We're going to start moving up now. And the Hammer of Gork will open fire as well. That will reduce the range of my organ gun and reduce their, I think, their accuracy as well. Some big shots coming in, and the wolves just get shredded there from the organ gun fire. But I really don't want to focus too much on those wolf riders. They're not the most important target on the field. Unfortunately, I really can't see very many of these units because they're almost all Night Goblins. Nasty Skulkers and Rusty heirs are hidden from view right now, so I don't really have much option but to shred those guys out on the flank. It's a pretty terrible shot right there. And now my miners with blasting charges will start moving up, and the Rusty heirs firing in and doing some decent AP damage to start out this battle. So my miners will probably start falling pretty soon here. A lot of AP damage coming in. Squig herd moving up, and it does not look like Skarsnik will be using his Tricksy Traps ability, even though he brought it. I think that would be quite good for the squig herd, although they don't have a lot of range units that could focus them down before they kind of got into charge range, and I saw them anyway. But Nasty Skulkers look to be about to reveal themselves, and the miners with blasting charges will begin their explosive ordnance throwing into the middle of the goblin line. So here they come. Nasty Skulkers moving up and getting shredded by the blasting charges there. Fire rising from the earth and hammers moving out to the flank. And there's going to be a smoke bomb there, which will lower the charge speed and impact damage from these hammers. But with that high melee attack should be really good. Now look what my opponent is doing here. He's getting the squig herd around the flank, maybe to get into the Ulthar's Rangers, or get them into the backs of the hammers. So that could be a very powerful ability, getting the Nasty Skulkers and squig herd, using them in tandem with all that AP, getting a rear charge off, could shred these hammers. And look at how much damage they've taken already. That's only from this one squig herd charge and the Nasty Skulkers. So very, very well played. A cost-effective trade for the goblins right there. In the center, my miners are trying to hold on against the Nasty Skulkers. They should do okay. They got some really good blasting charges off. And here come the hammers. So I brought hammers kind of waiting to see a bunch of black orcs or something like that. And instead, he brought Nasty Skulkers. So the AP, I wouldn't say it's wasted against the Night Goblins, but honestly, they're probably more cost-effective builds than bringing a Hammer Core against Skarsnik and against Night Goblins. But with their high weapon strength and their high melee attack, they're still going to be able to shred through them like a hot knife through butter. So that'll be nice. My Dragonback Slayers moving up in position. Organ Guns getting ready to fire in, and Slayers backing them up. But I am going to make a micro mistake here. You can see the Night Goblins actually with gold chevrons, so they're pretty powerful, will make it in, and I did not see my organ gun get overrun here. So that artillery crew is going to get completely demolished, and I didn't get my charge off on my Slayers. I was microing elsewhere, so big mistake at this point in the battle. The organ gun could have shredded these archers in the back, and I kind of failed with my micro there. It looks like a Curse of the Bad Moon about to go down. I haven't seen it very often on Mortal Empires. I'm not sure how much damage it will do, but with the fact that I'm in Spaghetti Line, should be able to mitigate a lot of that damage. And meanwhile, out on the right flank, Belegar and my miners are holding it down and slaughtering a bunch of these Durkit's Cave Squigs. So Belegar is a beast in melee, of course. One of the most stubborn, maybe the most stubborn character in all of Warhammer Fantasy. He's actually kind of a dick, but I love him. Belegar is awesome. One of the coolest models of any Dwarf Lord for sure. Smacking those goblins around, just pancake that guy into the ground. Curse of the Bad Moon pretty much missed here, and my Trollhammer torpedoes have been silenced for now by the Moon Howlers that cause fear, but I'm moving my Ulthar's Rangers away from those range units and basically repositioning them to get some good shots in. Now, of course, the main line for the Night Goblins routed very quickly. The Nasty Skulkers and all these units, they're going to rout, and they're going to come back, and they're going to rout, and they're going to come back, and continuously cycle back in and out of combat, which is fine. They do really good AP damage, which is what you want against the Dwarfs if you're bringing a themey, kind of interesting Skarsnik build here. And I really like that he was kind of role-playing in this game, because not only is the role-playing thing element kind of fun in Warhammer Fantasy Battle and in Total War Warhammer 2, but this kind of build can absolutely work very well against the Dwarfs too. All this AP, all this cost-effective trading can definitely work very well. Now Squig Herd charging up the center here into my hammers and just demolishing something. Look at them go, they just went flying everywhere. Beautiful charge from the Squig Herd, and they're going crazy. Getting that plus 12 leadership from being in melee, and really nice use of the smoke bomb and the Squig Herd as well. So those hammers getting completely surrounded and destroyed. The Mangy Marauders got a good charge into my Ulthar's Raiders. They're getting run over. The Rangers are getting swallowed up here. But Trollhammer torpedoes firing in from the flank, and with that very significant bonus versus large, just take a look what it is. 24 bonus versus large. Yeah, I'll wreck those Goblin Wolf Archers as they run away here. And in the center, supporting with some of my Ulthar's Raiders. But Skarsnik and his Nasty Skulkers have pushed through. And there's a Itchy Nuisance here, minus 25% weapon damage, minus 26 melee attack on my Dragonback Slayers and on Belegar. And they're stomping through the center of this engagement, doing a lot of damage to my Grumbling Guard, and it's absolute bedlam right now. So much going on. The Hammer of Gork from support, firing from afar, 19 kills at the moment, 6 kills on the Goblin Rock Clobber, but it only costs 700 gold, so it should be able to fire for a long time here. Let's take a look. I think Belegar and Skarsnik are about to go at it and get a really awesome duel here to continue their rivalry for the 8 Peaks. Blood spurting everywhere as the Warlord's boys and some of the Night Goblins get in, and Belegar just got sent flying by something, I guess a Squig Herd charge, and we've got the Trollhammer torpedoes shredding some of the Rusty Airs and Goblins that are continuously trying to focus fire, and you can see Ulthars, or the Rangers with great weapons, getting destroyed there. Only 10 armor, lowered significantly by that Sundered Armor ability. And now we have Skarsnik. You can see balance bar. The Goblins are winning at the moment, but Belegar and Skarsnik are fighting it out here with the support from the Grumbling Guard. Belegar doing his best to win this duel and reclaim his ancestral home for Clan Angrund. Skarsnik's in a bad spot right now. Let's take a look at the overview of the battlefield. Belegar is definitely winning that duel. His Revenge Incarnate got buffed significantly. He gets 50% weapon damage from that, which is crazy, and makes it really hard for Skarsnik to duel him, even though he does have poison attacks, and he does have a bonus first... Oh, he has a bonus first large. Interesting. I guess the Prodder gives him bonus first large. He does have AP, though. I thought it was bonus first infantry. That's usually what cave squigs and squigs in general give you. But yeah, Skarsnik is in a bad spot right now. Balance bar definitely in the favor of the Goblin Zone. The Nasty Skulkers should come back to the fight very soon, while the Goblin Rock Clobbers continuously pour in that fire. And you can see the battle got very spread out and very bloody. It was over pretty quick, but I guess the game's not over yet. Just a lot of units got destroyed there. Guy just got decapitated by a Hammer of Gork shot. This guy got his arm torn off. Axes going everywhere, and he's doing 360 no-scopes with the dual axes, chopping him up. God, that was so cool looking. Alright, let's take a look at the duel here. Take a look at Belegar and Skarsnik and see how this goes down. So, Skarsnik was trying to shut down the Trollhammer torpedoes, preventing that AP from hitting him in the face. But Belegar's got plenty of that himself, and Gobla doesn't seem to be eating very much right now. He should be swallowing up some of these dwarfs. And looking at the damage here, Skarsnik only 996 HP left. Belegar's actually been swallowed by Gobla on more than one occasion, but his Armor of Angrund the Hammer of Angrund and his massive armor buffs have kept him alive during his voyages inside Gobla's intestines. But yeah, it looks like Skarsnik is routing now, 637 HP. Belegar smacked him around in melee, and that's kind of equalized the balance bar here. The Night Goblin Shaman is surrounded by some Slayers, which is not an engagement he wants to be in whatsoever. All these very angry dwarfs looking to avenge some grudges. And with the Trollhammer torpedoes firing in as well, Skarsnik taking so much damage out in 272. Belegar needs to finish this fight. Needs to reclaim the 8 peaks here. And he'll get stunned, actually. Belegar comes in, doesn't strike the killing blow, but Skarsnik dies as we look at a very unfortunate headless dwarf on the ground. There's a lot of artillery still coming in. Grumbling Guard taking a lot of damage from that archer fire. And the very angry Dragonback Slayers looking to get into melee. If they get one attack off, they'll be able to slow them down. Goblin Rock Climbers getting some good shots in. And there should be some nasty shots. Looking like Christmas right now with the green and red all over their armor. Moving up. Dragonback Slayer taking some shots from the Goblin Archers from the flank. And with some more artillery fire coming in, that's going to be bad news if any of them hit, which they don't seem to be right now. This volley might. Oh my god. Disgusting. Huge shots coming in from the Goblin Rock Lobbers, and Dragonback Slayers even made it into melee here with the Rusty Airs, finally avenging some grudges, and the Slayers should be able to seal the deal here. So that was a fierce fight for sure. I really like the build from the Goblin player. Oh god, the guy just got his head chopped off. I love the blood pack. The Trollhammer torpedoes getting some good shots in as well. And that's going to be the battle. So I really like the build from Skarsnik there. Like, honestly, he had pretty much everything he needed to have. He had a bunch of AP bonus versus infantry units that were very cost effective, very cheap. Only issue with his build really is leadership, and if you keep Skarsnik in the middle of the line, they'll rout, but they'll come back, they'll rally a lot. And you can see, I mean, if you're getting this kind of kills against the heavily armored dwarfs, then it kind of, I wouldn't say it's a completely elite-centric build, but with 3 hammers, I'd say it's a pretty elite Dawi army. I'd say that's a very good trade for you. So with a few changes here or there, with the Squig Herd getting some more rear charges off, I think he could have been in really good shape, but I think that he supported his Nasty Skulkers very nicely with the Squig Herd. You want to use them in tandem with each other, and if you use the Squigs kind of in the middle of the Goblin line, charging in from actually the same side that the Goblins are charging in from, they work together very nicely because the Goblins will prevent the Squigs from taking damage, which keeps the Squigs' leadership up and allows them to just chop through the Dwarfen lines pretty easily. So I like the build here a lot. I don't think that the Curse of the Bad Moon is a particularly good spell against the Dwarfs. I think he could have skipped that and just gone for the debuffs constantly over and over again, and continuously lowered my armor. But yeah, a fierce battle, and these hammers, they did kick ass. Like, even though they are more suited to dealing with heavily armored stuff, 162 kills, 114, kind of to be expected against a Goblin build. Organ Gun did alright, but I did definitely miss micro it. I should have supported it much better with the Slayers there. I kind of microed on that flank. The Ulthar's Rangers were a bit wasted in this game because there's no Arachnarok Queen. There was nothing really huge, any single entity unit that I really wanted to murder quickly, but there were a lot of the little cab units that count as large. Squigs count as large, Squig Hoppers count as large, even the Wolf Riders count as large. So I still got some use out of them for sure. And the Dragonback Slayers just murdered everything in their path. Belegar outdueled Skarsnik, and the Dwarfs managed to win the game there. So fun battle. Definitely plenty more Dawi builds coming because I do think they're going to be pretty strong on this patch. Still going to have some tough matchups for sure, but Tormentor Sword, the buffs to the Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes, the price buff to Slayers, the more cost-effective, more powerful hammers. So many changes that make the Dwarfs worth using, and I think it's now, the meta's still going to be evolving, but I think they're in a much better shape than they were in Game 1. So I hope you guys enjoyed that battle. Plenty more content coming soon. I'll see you next time. Indie Pride signing out for now.